The unseen horizon. The bridge of the Odyssey hummed with a low, nervous energy. Captain Marcus Elwood, a broad-shouldered man with a streak of silver in his hair, stood at the viewport, hands clasped behind his back. The ship's maiden voyage beyond the heliosphere was meant to be a historic leap for humankind, a peaceful foray into the unknown. But as the stars drifted past, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that history rarely unfolded as planned. "Status report," he said, his voice steady but taut. "Engines nominal, Captain," replied Lieutenant Priaduz, her fingers dancing across the navigation console. "We're holding course for Proxima Centauri. No anomalies detected yet." At the science station, Dr. Emil Novik adjusted his glasses, peering at a cluster of swirling data. "Radiation levels are within expected parameters. I'm picking up some odd fluctuations in the background microwave spectrum, but nothing dangerous." Marcus nodded, glancing at the rest of his bridge crew. There was Chief Engineer Rico Tanaka, already half buried in a maintenance panel, Security Chief Amira Khalid, alert and watchful, and Communications Officer Jonah Price, who seemed to be listening to a symphony only he could hear. The Odyssey was humanity's best, if not only hope for peaceful contact. Its hull was sleek and utilitarian, bristling with sensors and shielded by the latest in Earth's patchwork of defensive technology. Yet, as the hours stretched on, a sense of vulnerability crept in. Out here, there were no second chances. Suddenly, Jonah's head snapped up. "Captain, I'm picking up a signal. It's not from Earth, not from any known source." Marcus's heart skipped on speakers. A burst of static, then a series of clicks and harmonic tones. The bridge fell silent, every ear straining to decipher the message. After a moment, the ship's translation AI kicked in, rendering the alien language into a cold, mechanical voice. "Unregistered vessel, you have entered restricted Dominion space. Power down your engines and prepare for boarding. Noncompliance will be met with force." Priya's eyes widened. "Sir, I have a visual, putting it on main screen." The forward viewport shimmered, revealing a shape that dwarfed the Odyssey, a ship so vast it blotted out the stars, its hull a latticework of obsidian and gold. Spires jutted from its surface, bristling with unknown weaponry. It was unlike anything ever seen by human eyes. On the alien bridge, High Marshal Vecran of the Valorian Dominion leaned forward, his four-jointed fingers steepled. His skin was a deep, iridescent blue, eyes cold and calculating. To his right, Subcommander Lyra, a willowy figure with silver tattoos, monitored the human ship's every move. Vecran's lip curled in disdain. "Such crude construction, their technology is offensive." Lyra nodded. "Their propulsion is primitive, but the energy readings are anomalous. They should not possess this level of drive efficiency." Back on the Odyssey, Marcus forced himself to project calm. "Open a channel, let's try diplomacy." Jonah nodded, activating the comms. "Dominion vessel, this is Captain Marcus Elwood of the human starship Odyssey. We come in peace, seeking only knowledge and dialogue." The alien face appeared on the screen, eyes narrowing. "Peace is irrelevant. You will submit to Dominion authority. Your vessel will be inspected. Resistance will be punished." Amira stiffened. "Captain, their weapons are powering up." Marcus weighed his options. Surrender meant losing everything: knowledge, freedom, perhaps even their lives, but a fight was suicide. Priya evasive maneuvers, Rico reinforce shields, Jonah stall them, tell them we need time to comply. Jonah's voice was steady but his hands trembled. "Dominion vessel, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please allow us a moment to." A pulse of green light lanced across the void, slamming into the Odyssey's shields. The ship shuddered, alarms blaring. "Shields holding but barely," Rico reported. That was a warning shot. On the Dominion bridge, Vecran's patience wore thin. Enough delays bored them. Lyra hesitated. "Their drive signature is unfamiliar. I recommend caution." Vecran sneered. "They are insects. Proceed." Back on the Odyssey, Emil's voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, their sensors are scanning us, deep scans probing our core systems." Marcus gritted his teeth. "Rico, can you mask our drive signature?" "I can try, but it'll take time." "Do it." Amira, prep countermeasures. Priya, plot a course away from their main battery. We need to buy ourselves a window. The bridge crew moved as one, adrenaline sharpening their focus. Outside, the Dominion ship loomed ever closer, its boarding craft launching like wasps from a hive. Jonah's console beeped. "They're jamming our comms. I can't reach Earth." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Then we stand alone, but we stand." The Odyssey's engines flared, the ship twisting away from the incoming craft. For a heartbeat, hope flickered, then another blast rocked the hull, sending sparks flying. "We can't take much more of this," Rico shouted. Emil's eyes widened. "Wait, I think I can overload their sensors. If I reroute our reactor output through the comm array, it might blind them just for a moment." Marcus didn't hesitate. "Do it." As Emil worked, the crew braced for impact. The alien boarding craft closed in, their hulls gleaming with menace. Then, with a surge of power, the Odyssey's comms array lit up, flooding the local space with a burst of electromagnetic noise. The Dominion sensors flickered, momentarily blinded. "Now, Priya," Marcus barked. The Odyssey lurched forward, engines screaming as they punched through the gap. For a brief, shining instant, they were free. The Dominion's shadow. The Odyssey's escape was a fleeting victory. As the battered ship put distance between itself and the colossal Dominion vessel, the crew's adrenaline faded, replaced by a cold, gnawing fear. The bridge was tense, the only sound the soft beeping of damaged consoles and the distant groan of overstressed hull plating. Captain Marcus Elwood stood at the center, his mind racing. "Report." Chief Engineer Rico Tanaka's voice crackled through the intercom. "We took a glancing hit on the portside relay. Shields are operating at 40%. Engines are running hot. If we push them, we risk a core breach." Lieutenant Priya's hands trembled as she recalibrated the navigation system. "We're clear of immediate pursuit, but their sensors are sweeping the sector. If they recalibrate, they'll find us." Jonah Price, the communications officer, wiped sweat from his brow. "Still no contact with Earth. They're jamming everything outside a narrow band. If we try to transmit, we'll give away our position." Dr. Emil Novik's face was pale. "Captain, their scans were deep. They know more about us than we do about them." Marcus nodded grimly. "Then we must assume they'll come after us and Earth." On the Dominion flagship, High Marshal Vekran's patience was wearing thin. The brief sensor blackout had been a shock. He paced the bridge, his boots echoing on the obsidian deck. "Report, Lyra." Subcommander Lyra's silver tattoos glimmered in the cold light. "Their vessel has evaded our immediate scans. Their drive signature is unusual. I am recalibrating our sensors, but it will take time." Vekran's eyes narrowed. "No species develops such technology without outside interference. I want that ship found, now." Lyra hesitated. "Marshal, there is a risk. If we press our scans, we may alert other powers in this sector. The Council will not approve." Vekran cut her off with a gesture. "The Council is not here. I command this fleet. Prepare a boarding party. The humans will not escape a second time." Back on the Odyssey, the crew worked feverishly. Rico and her engineering team rerouted power, patching up the wounded ship as best they could. Amira Khalid, the security chief, checked and rechecked the ship's meager armory pulse rifles, a handful of drones, and improvised barricades. In the cramped medical bay, Dr. Novik patched up a young ensign's burnt hand. The crew's nerves were frayed, but their resolve was hardening. They had seen the Dominion's might and survived. Priya's voice broke the silence. "Captain, I've plotted a course through the asteroid belt. If we mask our energy signature, we might lose them in the debris." Marcus nodded. "Do it. Rico, divert all non-essential power to the engines and shields. Jonah, keep scanning for any sign of pursuit." As the Odyssey slipped into the asteroid belt, the ship's lights dimmed. The crew held their breath, knowing that one mistake could mean disaster. On the Dominion ship, Lyra's recalibrated sensors flickered. "Marshal, I have a faint trace heading into the debris field." Vekran's lips curled. "They seek to hide in rocks, foolish, prepare to flush them out." Aboard the Odyssey, the tension was palpable. The ship weaved between tumbling boulders, engines throttled low to avoid detection. Suddenly, Jonah's console beeped. "Incoming transmission encrypted, but I think it's a Dominion probe." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Ignore it, stay dark." But the Dominion was relentless. A swarm of small, spider-like drones detached from the flagship, fanning out into the asteroid belt. Each one bristled with sensors and cutting lasers. Rico watched the sensor feed in horror. "If even one of those gets close, we're finished." Amira gripped her rifle. "We can't fight them all, but maybe we can distract them." Marcus's mind raced. "Ideas." Emil spoke up, his voice shaky but determined. "If we overload the mining lasers in Cargo Bay 2, we can trigger a controlled explosion. The debris might mask our escape and draw the drones away." Marcus nodded. Do it. Priya, prepare to punch us out on my mark. The plan was risky, but it was all they had. Rico and Emil worked together, rerouting power and setting the charges. The seconds ticked by like hours. On the Dominion bridge, Lyra frowned. Marshal, I am detecting a power surge in the debris field. Vecran's eyes gleamed, their desperate move in. Emil's voice echoed through the Odyssey. Charges set, ready on your command, Captain. Marcus took a deep breath. Now. The mining lasers fired, carving through a cluster of asteroids. In an instant, a chain reaction of explosions sent shrapnel and dust billowing through the field. The Dominion drones, caught off guard, scattered. Go, Marcus barked. Priya slammed the throttle forward. The Odyssey shot through the chaos, engines screaming. For a moment, it seemed they might make it. But then a Dominion drone latched onto the hull, its claws digging in. Alarms blared. Boarding attempt, Amira shouted. Marcus didn't hesitate. Rico, vent the cargo bay. Emil, seal all bulkheads. Amira, take a team and repel boarders. The crew sprang into action. Amira and her team raced to the cargo bay, pulse rifles ready. The Dominion drone sliced through the hull, disgorging two armored soldiers tall, blue-skinned, their armor gleaming with alien tech. A fierce firefight erupted. Amira's team fought bravely, using cover and quick thinking to hold the line. One of the Dominion soldiers fell, but the other pressed forward, relentless. In the chaos, Emil managed to reroute power to the cargo bay doors. With a hiss, the doors blew open, sucking the remaining boarder into space. The crew regrouped, battered but alive. The Odyssey limped free of the asteroid belt, battered but unbroken. On the Dominion flagship, Vecran seethed. They are more resourceful than I thought. No matter, prepare the fleet. We will follow them to their home world and show them the price of defiance. Back on the Odyssey, Marcus looked at his exhausted crew. We survived, but this is only the beginning. Earth must be warned, and we must be ready for whatever comes next. The price of defiance. 2 weeks had passed since the Odyssey's harrowing escape. The battered ship limped into the outer reaches of the solar system, its hull scarred and crew exhausted. Yet the message they carried was more urgent than ever. Humanity was no longer alone, and the galaxy was not a welcoming place. Earth anew resolves. In the subterranean command center beneath Geneva, the United Earth Defense Council convened in emergency session. The room buzzed with tension as the Odyssey's transmission played on a dozen screens. The Dominion's ultimatum, the alien ship's overwhelming power, and Captain Marcus Elwood's grim warning. At the head of the table sat General Sofia Alvarez, her sharp eyes scanning the assembled leaders. We must assume the Dominion will come, she said. Our window for preparation is measured in months if we're lucky. Beside her, Dr. Lionel Park, lead engineer of the newly formed Earth Defense Initiative, tapped through schematics on his tablet. We've already begun reverse engineering what little data the Odyssey brought back. Their weapon frequencies, shield harmonics, even their sensor arrays, we're adapting as fast as we can. Across the table, Ambassador Leila Mensa of Ghana leaned forward. General, what about diplomacy? If we respond with aggression, we risk provoking a war we can't win. Alvarez shook her head. The Dominion does not negotiate as equals. Their message was clear: submit or be destroyed. We must show them we're not easy prey. The human response. The world's old rivalries faded in the face of existential threat. Factories once devoted to civilian aerospace were converted to warship production. Scientists from every nation worked around the clock, sharing breakthroughs in propulsion, energy shielding, and weaponry. In a cavernous hangar beneath the Nevada desert, the first of Earth's new defensive warships took shape. The vessel, codenamed Aegis, was a patchwork of human ingenuity and alien insight: angular armor plates, modular weapon bays, and a drive system inspired by the Odyssey's close encounter. Dr. Park supervised the installation of a new shield generator, flanked by his assistant, Mei-Ling Zhou. If we're right, he said, this array should absorb and redirect the Dominion's primary weapon frequency. But we won't know for sure until we test it under fire. Mei-Ling adjusted a calibration tool. Let's hope we don't have to find out the hard way. Meanwhile, in a secure communications room, linguist and cryptographer Javier Morales pored over intercepted Dominion transmissions. They're not just coming for us, he reported to Alvarez. They're watching, studying. We've picked up references to unprocessed species and annexation protocols. Alvarez's jaw tightened. Then we need to be unpredictable. If we fight like they expect, we lose. The Dominion debates. Far across the void, within the crystalline halls of the Valorian Dominion's capital, the Council of Regents convened. High Marshal Vecran stood before them, his blue skin shimmering under the council lights. Esteemed regents, the human vessel escaped by means we did not anticipate. Their technology is crude, yet their drive system and tactical improvisation suggest a dangerous adaptability. Regent Sithra, her robe adorned with golden filaments, regarded him coolly. Are they a threat, Marshal, or merely an annoyance? Vecran bowed. Their world is populous and resource-rich. If left unchecked, they could destabilize this sector. I recommend immediate annexation. A younger regent, Jaxil, interjected. We have not encountered such rapid technological progress in centuries. Could they have outside assistance? Sithra considered this. Or perhaps they are simply unpredictable. Very well, Marshal, you have leave to proceed, but do not underestimate them again. Vecran's eyes flashed. I will not fail, Regent. Spies and saboteurs. Unbeknownst to both sides, the first seeds of espionage had already been sown. On Earth, a mysterious figure moved through the shadows of the orbital shipyards. Known only as Agent Voss, they relayed encrypted data to an unknown recipient's schematics, personnel rosters, and test results. In a dimly lit room, Voss transmitted a final message. Aegis nearly complete. Human defenses advancing faster than projected. Dominion must act soon. On the Dominion flagship, Subcommander Lyra received the transmission. She frowned, troubled. Marshal, our asset confirms the humans are adapting. They may soon possess weapons capable of damaging our hulls. Vecran's lips curled in a predatory smile. All the more reason to strike before they are ready. The race to prepare. Back on Earth, the Odyssey's crew was debriefed and reassigned. Captain Elwood was summoned to the Aegis's bridge, where General Alvarez awaited. Captain, you and your crew will command the Aegis on its shakedown run. If the Dominion comes, you'll be our first and last line of defense. Elwood nodded, determination burning in his eyes. We won't let you down, General. Below decks, Riko Tanaka and Emil Novik worked side by side, integrating the latest upgrades. Amira Khalid drilled the new security teams, her voice echoing through the corridors. We're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for everyone on Earth. The calm before the storm. As the Aegis prepared to launch, news spread across the planet. For the first time in history, humanity stood united not as nations, but as a species. In classrooms, children learned about the stars not as distant dreams, but as front lines. In homes, families watched the skies, wondering if the next sunrise would bring peace or war. And in the darkness beyond Pluto, the Dominion fleet gathered, engines pulsing with cold, alien light. The gathering storm. The red disk of Mars hung silently in the void, casting long shadows across the hull of the S-Vindicator. Hidden in the planet's lee, the ship's lights were dimmed and its systems ran on minimal power. Every crew member aboard knew they were the last line between Earth and the approaching storm. Captain Lisa Reyes paced the bridge, her boots making no sound on the padded deck. She paused at the main viewport, watching the Imperial fleet's icons creep closer on the tactical display. 5 enemy vessels, each larger than any human ship except the Vindicator, moved with chilling confidence toward Earth. Status, Reyes asked, her voice low but steady. Lieutenant Gregory Barnes, the Vindicator's weapons officer, checked his readouts. All systems green, Captain. Shields are charged and tuned to the frequencies we observed from the Defiance encounter. Missiles and pulse cannons loaded. Communications officer Natalie Clark kept her eyes on her screens. Still no sign they've detected us. The Mars shadow is holding. Reyes nodded. Good, we wait for the signal. No one fires until I give the order. Deep below the surface of Earth, General Heather Martinez watched the events unfold from the United Earth Defense Command. The room was filled with tension, every screen showing feeds from orbital telescopes, sensor arrays, and the Vindicator's stealth cameras. Secretary Eric Powell stood beside her, arms folded tightly. Do you think they'll take the bait? Powell asked. Martinez's gaze never left the screens. They expect us to be afraid, they expect us to surrender, let's give them a surprise. The Imperial fleet, led by Subcommander Krellel, entered high orbit above Earth. Krellel's command ship, the Imperial Dawn, radiated power and authority. Krellel himself stood tall on the bridge, his green skin shining in the artificial light. Begin planetary scan, Krell ordered. I want all military installations identified. Prepare to transmit our final demand. His tactical officer, a wiry alien named Vesk, nodded. Scans underway, Sub-Commander. Their defenses are limited, some orbital platforms, a few armed satellites, nothing that could threaten us. Krell's lip curled into a sneer. Primitive, prepare the bombardment protocols just in case. On Earth, every screen flickered as Krell's face appeared once again. People of Earth, your time is up. Surrender your governments and your technology or face the consequences. This is your last warning. In the command center, Martinez exchanged a look with Powell. Send the signal, she said. A coded burst shot from Earth's surface, bouncing off a relay satellite and reaching the Vindicator in its Martian hiding place. On the bridge, a light flashed on Reyes' console. That's it, Reyes said. All hands battle stations, weapons free on my mark. The Vindicator powered up, its engines flaring to life. The ship surged from behind Mars, its dark hull almost invisible against the starry backdrop. As it cleared the planet's shadow, its profile became clear, sleek, angular, bristling with weaponry. Target the lead Imperial ship, Reyes ordered. Fire pulse cannons full spread. Barnes' fingers flew over the controls. The Vindicator's cannons erupted in a volley of blue-white energy bolts, streaking across the void and slamming into the Imperial Dawn's shields. The enemy ship's barrier flickered, then buckled as the human weapons exploited the frequency weakness discovered by Earth scientists. On the Imperial bridge, alarms blared. Vesk shouted, shields failing, unknown weapon signature they've adapted. Krell's eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible, return fire, all ships engage. The other Imperial vessels swung around, unleashing beams of green energy at the Vindicator. The human ship's shields shimmered, absorbing the first volley. Barnes called out, shields holding Captain, minimal bleed-through. Reyes kept her voice calm. Maintain evasive pattern, target their weapons, erase, cripple them, don't destroy, we need one alive for interrogation. The Vindicator danced between the enemy beams, its engines pushing the limits of human engineering. Missiles streaked from its launch bays, weaving through the chaos and striking two Imperial ships amidships. Explosions blossomed in the void, sending debris spinning. On Earth, cheers erupted in the command center, as the feed showed the Vindicator holding its own against the invaders. But the Imperials were not so easily beaten. The remaining ships regrouped, focusing their fire on the Vindicator. The human ship rocked under the barrage, sparks flying from overloaded consoles. Shields at 60%, Barnes called. We can't take much more of this. Reyes gritted her teeth. Divert auxiliary power to shields, prepare to deploy the decoy drones. Natalie Clark launched a swarm of drones from the Vindicator's belly. Each one broadcast a false energy signature, confusing the Imperial targeting systems. Beams of green fire lanced out, striking empty space as the Vindicator slipped through the chaos. On the Imperial Dawn, Krell slammed his fist on the console. They're using decoys, adjust targeting algorithms. But it was too late. The Vindicator closed the distance, unleashing another barrage of pulse cannon fire. The Imperial Dawn's shields collapsed and the ship shuddered as its engines went offline. Boarding teams prepare to launch, Reyes ordered. Let's show them what humans can do. As the Vindicator's shuttle sped toward the crippled Imperial ship, Reyes allowed herself a moment of pride. They had done the impossible, they had stood against the galaxy's mightiest empire and survived. But the battle was far from over. Across the solar system, the remaining Imperial ships regrouped, their captains vowing revenge. And in the darkness beyond Neptune, more enemy vessels gathered, drawn by the promise of conquest and the mystery of human defiance. In the command center on Earth, General Martinez watched the unfolding battle with grim satisfaction. We've bloodied their nose, she said to Powell. Now let's see if we can win the war. The battle for tomorrow. The red planet's shadow stretched across the void as the Vindicator floated in silence, every system running at a whisper. On the bridge, Captain Lisa Reyes' eyes were fixed on the tactical display, where 5 Imperial ships glided toward Earth with chilling certainty. Each was a behemoth, bristling with weapons, shields shimmering in the faint sunlight, their hulls marked by the elegant glyphs of the Galactic Imperial Alliance. Final checks, Reyes ordered, her voice calm but taut. Lieutenant Gregory Barnes responded instantly, weapons charged, pulse cannons and missile batteries locked on targets. Decoy drones are ready. Engineering, Reyes called. Engines at full standby, shields at 100%, came the reply from Chief Engineer Sofia Petrov, her hands moving deftly over the controls. All systems green. Natalie Clark at Communications listened intently to the encrypted chatter. Imperial fleet is broadcasting their ultimatum again, Captain. They're giving Earth one last chance to surrender. Reyes' jaw tightened. They're not expecting a fight. Let's make sure they remember this day. Aboard the Imperial flagship, Subcommander Krellel watched his screens with growing impatience. Any sign of resistance? Vesk, his tactical officer, shook his head. Nothing, Subcommander. Their orbital defenses are primitive. No sign of warships. Krellel's lips curled. Prepare to deploy ground teams. Begin orbital bombardment of military installations. But before the order could be given, alarms blared across the Imperial bridge. Unidentified vessel emerging from Mars' shadow, Vesk shouted. The Vindicator surged from hiding, its engines flaring. Reyes gave the order, fire all batteries. A storm of blue-white energy bolts and missiles streaked across the void, slamming into the lead Imperial cruiser. The enemy's shields flickered, then failed as the Vindicator's weapons exploited the frequency weakness discovered from the Defiant's sacrifice. On Earth, every screen showed the impossible. A human ship, outnumbered and outgunned, striking first and striking hard. General Martinez, watching from the command center, gripped the edge of her console. That's it, Reyes, show them what we're made of. The Imperial fleet reeled. Krellel barked, return fire, all ships converge on the attacker. Green lances of energy shot toward the Vindicator. Barnes called out, shields holding at 80%, minor hull damage on port side. Reyes kept her voice steady. Evasive maneuvers, target their weapons arrays, disable, don't destroy, we need prisoners. The Vindicator twisted and spun, its engines burning bright. Decoy drones launched, scattering in every direction and confusing the Imperial targeting systems. Two enemy ships fired blindly, their beams slicing empty space as the Vindicator slipped between them. Petrov rerouted power to the forward shields. We can take a few more hits, Captain, but not forever. Make every shot count, Reyes replied. A missile found its mark, detonating against the bridge of the second Imperial cruiser. The enemy vessel spun out of formation, venting atmosphere and debris. The Vindicator's pulse cannons raked the third ship, knocking out its engines. On the Imperial flagship, Krellel's composure cracked. How can this be? Their ship is primitive. Vesk's hands trembled. Their weapons are tuned to our shield harmonics. They must have analyzed the Defiant's battle data. Krellel snarled, adapt, change frequencies, overwhelm them. But the Vindicator pressed its advantage. Reyes saw her moment. Barnes, prepare the boarding teams. Clark, jam their communications. Petrov, give me every ounce of thrust, we're going in close. The Vindicator dove toward the Imperial flagship, shields blazing. Grappling beams locked on, and armored shuttles shot from the human ship's bays, carrying boarding parties led by Amira Khalid. Inside the enemy ship, the boarding teams fought through twisting corridors, pulse rifles blazing. The Imperials were fierce, but the humans were desperate, and they had something to fight for. Amira's team reached the bridge, securing Krellel and his officers. You're our prisoners now, she said, her voice cold. Back in orbit, the remaining Imperial ships hesitated. Without their commander, their formation wavered. Reyes seized the moment. Broadcast to all Imperial vessels, your leader is captured, stand down or be destroyed. Clark relayed the message. For a heartbeat, the void was silent. Then one by one, the Imperial ships powered down their weapons. The battle was over. On Earth, cheers erupted from command centers, homes, and city streets. For the first time, humanity had faced the galaxy's might and survived. But the cost was high. The Vindicator's hull was scarred, dozens of crew were injured, and the threat was far from over. Reyes looked at her battered ship and her exhausted crew. We did it, she said quietly, but this is just the beginning. General Martinez's face appeared on the screen. Well done, Captain. Bring the prisoners home. We have much to learn and prepare for. As the Vindicator towed the crippled Imperial flagship toward Earth, the galaxy took notice. Across the stars, other empires and alliances watched, wondering, who were these humans and what would they do next? In the darkness beyond Neptune, more Imperial ships gathered, their commanders vowing revenge. And deep within the Dominion, whispers of rebellion began to stir.